The Amazing Spider-Man and Man of Steel so similar? Why do they always have to mute color palettes to prove that the movies are different? Why do we keep putting British actors in American roles? Why do people keep calling Superman Jesus? And why is it Peter Parker seems to be the only nerd who can get hot girls? I wear weirdly tight clothing all the time, yet it doesn't happen for me. Well, I guess there's only one thing to do. Cue title scene! Welcome to Why, where I, Kevin Jones, ask the big questions and don't expect any answers. But I will answer this because some of you are probably wondering why I was wearing shorts and why I look like a sweaty elephant. Because it's hot! Can't afford air conditioning, and I don't shower before these videos. Yeah, that's disgusting. But guess what? When you people get me, you get normal me, which is dirty, stinky, and a little constipated. Without further ado, let's get serious. The subject of this week's Why is why exactly is Man of Steel like the Amazing Spider-Man? Or better yet, why is it no one seems to be asking this question? Everyone keeps comparing it to Iron Man 3 and The Dark Knight Rises. But when I saw this film, the first thing I thought was, oh my god, I just saw the DC version of The Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't bring this up in my review because I felt that would have made the video even longer. And since no one has actually made this connection, I decided to cast the first stone and bring nerddom into its next level, comparing two things no one cares about. Essentially, the similarities start like this. That was a good segue. First up, the film's premises. According to director Mark Webb, The Amazing Spider-Man is a movie about a boy who goes looking for his dad and finds himself. Man of Steel is, at its core, a movie about a guy who goes looking for his dad and ends up finding himself. Does this make sense? Yes, because he literally looks for and finds his pappy. And it helps him find himself, literally explaining himself. Did that just blow your mind? It would have blown mine if I wasn't, when I thought of it, blowing up my toilet from all that expensive movie popcorn. From there, the similarities just kind of get weird. As I mentioned in the prologue, the color palettes seem to be very muted. Now, I'm not saying these films are all dark, dreary noirs, or something, but they are not the brightest. When Chris Reeve and the Richard Donner Superman films happened, Superman's costume was very bright, very colorful, like it came right out of the comics. When Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire did their Spider-Man movies, once again, costume was very bright and the world looked very light. But when Mark Webb and Garfield decided to do their Spider-Man, and Snyder and Henry Cavill decided to do their Superman, you can clearly tell the color palettes have been darkened. Why? Because it makes more sense. Spider-Man is running around, getting beaten up, going in the darkest, dreary places, or as most people call it, Brooklyn. And the thing is that realistically the costume would become dirty and dark, and let's face it, it's not like in the second film we can just pop it in the washing machine and no one noticed, which is a bad joke. Same thing in Man of Steel. It's grittier, it's darker. Well, I shouldn't say darker. This seems to be what keeps happening. People keep saying these films are a lot darker. Was The Amazing Spider-Man as goody gumdrops as the original three? No. It was more realistic, but here's the thing about life. It's a little dark. Same thing with Superman. I didn't personally think it was a rip-off of the Batman trilogy. I can see where people are going with that, and personally, I thought the weakest elements of the movie were the ones that made you go, that's Nolan's happening. But the thing is, realistically, even Superman's mythos is pretty dark. Case in point, genocide of his people by planetary explosion. Also, Zod killing everyone. Why is he considered family-friendly in the second film when he's wiping people out for fun? At least in this film, there's a dark reason. Once again, that also plays it. Villains. We all thought Michael Shannon's Zod would be up there in the realms of like Heath Ledger's Joker, or Wow, that's really our high standard for villains, isn't it? I guess Tom Hiddleston's Loki, but even at that, there was no way a first-round villain could be like either of those. At his core, Zod is a character we understand and we can somewhat connect with, but he's still just a first-round baddie. Same thing with the Lizard. We understand Connors, we respect him, we connect with him, and that's not just because my left hand is half the time just plain useless because I eat too much. But the thing is that, once again, after halfway through the movie, he just turns into a generic first-round baddie, brought to life by CGI. I give points more towards the Lizard because he looks so freaking awesome, but that's just me. From there, things also get similar. I don't know if you realize this. Andrew Garfield and Henry Cavill are the same age. I mean, Cavill's a few months older, but it's creepy. One plays a 17-year-old boy, the other's playing a 33-year-old man, and they're the same age in real life. I get it. A big goal of actors is to feel younger, is to look younger or older depending on the part, but there reaches a point where it just gets crazy. And this is that. Also, they're both British. We got to do something about that. Too many Brits. America. But again, that's our own fault. We really worked our actors out. Let's not forget, Tobey Maguire. Obviously, people will always compare him to Garfield, and Maguire's always going to get to the point for the first. But he was a whiny bitch. I said it. I'm not taking it back. I'm pretty certain no little kids watch this. The thing is that realistically, he kind of worked himself out there. The reason he seemed emo in Spider-Man 3 was because there was really no other way for him to look. He isn't intimidating, and he's not that scary. That's the best he could do. In Superman Returns, which is the equivalent, Brandon Routh is basically told, be a Chris Reeve look-alike. He's not allowed to do the best of his ability. So in a sense, in both situations, we never get to get the actual feel for what the characters are supposed to be like. One can't do it because the actor's not talented, and the other can't do it because the director won't let him. Also, the films that kind of were meant to keep interest up but just had way too much stuff going on, Spider-Man 3 and Superman Returns, are very similar. You have a darker feel to the films, but it's not executed properly. Good ideas and some interesting fan stuff we loved seeing, but never truly done right. There are too many ideas happening once, and it all just falls apart, with a couple of very exciting scenes, and both girls are whiny brats. You also have similarities in their first ones. General consensus. Superman 1, great. Superman 2, a masterpiece. General consensus with Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1, great. Spider-Man 2, a masterpiece. Once again, these franchises are eerily similar, not to mention similar characters. Raised as nerds, not raised by biological parents. Kind of act a little nerdy as adults. That's their characters. Love interests who never seem to get portrayed right on the big screen. Talking about Mary Jane. I really liked Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. We hope your death has us all crying like little children. But that's what has to happen. I'm just putting these ideas out there. I'm not saying anyone who out there is less stupid for not thinking these things, though it would be interesting to see people comparing films for different reasons and not just the same things because they came out in the same year or they were done by the same people. These are two films that are basically based on their respective comic book companies' flagship characters. Two of the most endearing comic book characters of all time. And frankly, both their films are kind of going in a similar direction. Personally, I put Man of Steel as the DC counterpart for The Amazing Spider-Man for both those reasons. Also, I'm a huge fan of both characters, respectively. They're similar films, and who knows, maybe they'll go in a similar direction. Personally, I kind of preferred The Amazing Spider-Man because of Andrew Garfield's acting, but it did have problems. Man of Steel, I think Henry Cavill's definitely got a lot of props as Superman, but it had a lot of problems. Both films left me pumped and excited afterwards, and they're making a lot of other people pumped and excited afterwards. But that also means a lot of people are either refusing to acknowledge the problems or are just saying they're completely bad films. Not that it's my job to influence your opinion, but that is what's happening. The two films definitely, when compared, are the same thing. The Amazing Spider-Man was split right down the middle by popularity, same with Man of Steel. The only difference being is Man of Steel has the Nolan freaks on their side. Also, The Amazing Spider-Man kind of just relies solely on the fact that it's frickin' Spider-Man. Both films have sequels coming soon, and we both hope both of them in some way, shape, or form wind up swinging on their main hero team.